Okay, here we are, May 23rd, 2024. And you've been off to, is it Montana, Amy, for a golf tournament? Is that where you
Yeah,
guys?
we went to Missoula, Montana a couple weeks ago, which is a beautiful drive, but it is hard to get to from Boise, Idaho. There is
No.
no direct route.
Did you
You
go
all,
the eastern route or the western route?
Probably eastern route. We went up to Grangeville and then like wandered through fields and rolling hills and one lane highways.
Yeah, beautiful drive.
for those
It's
of you who
beautiful.
don't, for those of you who don't subscribe to Amy's essays, number one, you should, and number two, you'd even know that because she wrote about it this last week, and she's such a fabulous writer.
Yeah.
And Dr. Korchelman, how are you doing before we get into the weft and I forget the term.
Warp and weft.
The warp and the weft of this month's haikus.
I love that we're in a group where we can talk about warp and weft. So I'm doing well.
Doesn't come up in all of your other groups and meetings and faculty meetings.
It will now.
Okay, let's enough of this falderall. Enough of this falderall. Let me see if I can pull up our haikus for this month. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
We are up to, here's May 2024, 41 of these
That's
babies.
incredible.
41 starting in September 2019. If you're new to haiku narratives, which, you know, 99.999% of the world is new to this, would be new to this. We've been doing this for a while and we love doing it. And so we have 3 haikus as usual, and we share them with each other. And then we write high buttons, which is a narrative about it for each person. And then we come back and we share them in our recording today. So let's see here. Who wants to go first? Who should go first this time? Given
Why
that
don't you go first, Michael?
I think my haiku is the least related to the other 2, so that's a good idea.
I don't think so.
Okay, look at these beautiful haikus we're passing right now. Okay, and just note different colors for the borders and everything. I decided to have rainbow colors this time instead of
Looks
one
nice.
color, instead of one motif. Through our daily strife and life's daunting plights, the spirit summons deep joy. And then on the other side of the card, it's not a haiku, but here is a couple pictures of, there's my mantle right there, and it's got all this stuff on it. The picture was not as sharp as I wish, and there's a picture my wife took when we were in Cinque Terre in Italy, this 10 years ago. So, and then here's another picture with our friends. You see these birds? Those birds are, Kelly Anderson draws those birds, and those are both calendars. So they switch birds each month. So they're great. And then I won't go through all these, but right up there is a picture of Merton's cabin, which
wow. Yeah.
which Davin and I visited. And this little picture here is of a gas station. And it's a gas station that my grandparents bought during the Depression, and it saved them from the poverty of having to move via Okies and go to California. So my mom had this painted, and it's called God's Grace. And she always thought God's grace to save the family from this and that. So anyway, a few of my favorite things, hat tip to Hammerstein and Rogers, and then what brings you joy when life is difficult. So that is my haiku.
Good.
Very nice.
Who would like to start?
I can go.
I read it, didn't I? Yeah, I read it.
Yeah. It's probably because of the joyful daffodils that frame this haiku, but the first thing I thought of was tiptoe through the tulips. Through is such a hopeful word. Through doesn't try to disguise or overlook troubles, disagreements, or difficulties. Rather, the preposition through infuses hope. We will get through this, through our daily strifes. Through reminds us that there is a path, there is hope. A light, however distant, awaits us on the other side. Through, in a gentle way, directs us toward hope and joy. This haiku begins with through and ends with joy. These bookend words signal a path. Daily strife, from the macro to the micro, is the tax we pay for living, and yet we will get through. Michael offers a pathway, a formula. Start knowing that getting through difficulties is possible and highly probable. When life seemingly overwhelming and difficult challenges and daunting plights crowd our vision and overtake our day, we only need to look to the Great Spirit to call forth deep joy. Strife and life can feel daunting, but joy waits for us at the other end, the end of this haiku, the end of the day, and the great end. Through, always onward and through.
Woohoo.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Like book.
Very nice. And it resonates a little bit with mine.
Nice.
Our family has several mottos that we've developed over the years, primarily as guideposts for how we want to live our lives together. They are not original or creative. Some might even call them cliche. But they are powerful and meaningful, at least for the Karchelman family. The most recent motto to emerge, mostly over the course of the last decade, the other mottos are much older, things that we developed when the kids were very young. The motto is to every day pick up the heaviest rock you can lift and carry it as far as you can. It's about responsibility and our firm belief that character, meaning, and happiness are built from relationships of responsibility. The idea that pleasure and happiness come with a lack of responsibility, sort of like the Jimmy Buffett approach to life, is not supported by experience or data. On its face, it seems contradictory that, as Michael says, our daily strife and daunting plights summon deep joy. But it is a great truth of human nature. We are built to take care and to love and to suffer. Escaping those burdens does not generate happiness or meaning or joy. It is through the daily struggles of responsibility that the Spirit summons deep joy. The joy is not a destination. It is a journey. A life of joy, happiness, and meaning is a road that is made by walking.
I
Wow.
love it.
Yeah, that's great. Who would have thunk that the word through would have such meaning in this particular haiku?
Yeah, I even capitalized it in my high bun.
Through.
I hadn't even
All
thought of it.
caps.
I always laugh about cliches because people call things cliches, but they become cliches because there's truth in them generally, you know? And so they're overused, which makes them seem superficial, but they're not. They're most of the time they're based on something deep.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yep, I agree.
I love your family, Davin. You have, I mean, who else would have mottos that they've done over the years, you know? And I don't know your family, Amy, but I suspect just knowing how much you guys do together, even in a car, I have no idea. Would you all sing songs over the 18 miles to the next golf tournament? I don't know what you do, but geez.
No.
There's got to be some family thing that's going on. Did
Yeah.
you win the tournament?
No, but he did well. He did well. It was a good one.
For those who don't know, he's a prodigy or something.
Oh, he's not a prodigy.
Golfer.
He loves it. He loves it.
Yeah, wow, he's good. That's for darn sure. Sometimes I hate to admit it, I get down on myself and what's going on in the world, what's going on in my family and people I know. I began writing this haiku, early versions, when our grandson was in the PICU, that's the pediatric intensive care unit, where he and my daughter spent 9 days and a total of 14 in the hospital. I started by using a play on words on my favorite things, just a great tune sung by Julie Andrews in the movie Sound of Music. I wrote, Maria had it right when I'm feeling bad. And then, of course, being me, when the dog stings or snarls, when the bee barks, and so on. Alas, that didn't go very far, but I got to thinking about what I hold on to when times are bad, or iffy, or disappointing. And I thought of these things I have, mostly inexpensive pictures or a medallion or whatever that I've gathered and kept over time. And you can see some right back there. These just little things that people have sent me or that I just a picture or whatever. Often they've been a gift from someone and therefore have special meaning just because of that. Sometimes it's something I've acquired because it resonates with my soul. I got to thinking that all of that, all of anything around me is impermanent. These could all be gone in a blink. But what is it that underlies all these material things, even all these relationships and people I know and care about? And the answer, at least in part, is the Spirit. Call it human spirit, the Holy Spirit, Ruach, the Pneuma, the Great Spirit, or perhaps a Stoic idea of the Spirit as anima mundi, or world soul that unites all people. You might even call it Chi, which I'm learning a little bit about as I practice Tai Chi. When life drains me of hope, when I feel despair, it is the knowledge that I am just an iota of the infinite, of the great mystery, and that I have, as do all people and things, living and inanimate, a connection to vital force, and I'll call it the Spirit here. We are imbued, and that Spirit allows joy even in the midst of suffering, loss, and even fear of loss.
Mm.
Wow, that was powerful.
Yeah, that was so powerful.
We talk a lot about, Amy, Davin and I talk a lot about suffering and joy and those kinds of issues on the way to human flourishing. And I had never really thought about suffering so much until we started those conversations and how important that is for depth and just part of the human experience. And so that's really helped me get some perspective on it. And so, I mean, it's just a good thing to have some because we're all going to suffer, right?
Mhm, mhm. It was a
No one-
beautiful essay. That was
When
good.
I read your haiku, I wondered if that was some of your time with Grayson in the hospital coming through.
Yeah. And then, of course, being me, I have to, make a joke of it just to make a joke of it when, when dogs sting and bees bark. So it takes away the sting, I guess, maybe a little bit to be able to get around. Well, how about, oops, that didn't work. Let me share this next one then, if it'll let me. There we go. And I wonder if it's forest bathing or turkey. Why don't we go with Amy? How about
Okay. Sunning in stillness, turkey vulture, letting morning sun nourish.
Look at that. Turkey vulture. Yeah.
All right. I'm happy to go.
All right.
Go.
All right. The better angels of my nature would like for me to say that turkey vultures get a bad rap and deserve the benefit of the doubt. I'm not sure I can, though. The bird's look and behavior have inspired incriminating comparisons. We have colloquially adopted the term vulture to refer to any creature who preys on the weak for their own benefit. The more you learn about these birds, the less likely you are to want to spend any time with them at all. Truly, everything they find delicious and compelling is repulsive to human sensibilities. Their preferred diet is rotting flesh, which, by the way, they locate with an acute ability for smelling the gases emitted from decaying corpses.
Okay.
Corpses of roadkill and other misadventures, as they say in the United Kingdom. It's a powerful trope of mafia movies for the man left for dead in the desert to see the vultures waiting for his last breath. Yikes. Truly, I'm not sure any creature other than ticks deserves such a bad reputation.
Good.
Vultures remind us, however, that nature works, irrespective of our sympathy or knowledge or care. We don't need to like the way nature works.
Mhm.
We just need to accept it and let it happen. This acceptance is not a crude detachment or disengagement. It's an acknowledgement that we have a role and they have a role, and our roles are different. We can learn from the vulture, as Amy's poem indicates, to be still when the moment calls for stillness, especially to let the sun bathe us in its life-giving rays.
I love it.
What a positive start.
So true, though. So true.
I guess we're all got, I guess there's vultures everywhere. I think of the paparazzi myself. Fortunately, I'll never be famous enough to have to worry about that myself.
Never
But
say never.
never
That's
say
right.
never. Never say never. However,
Profound living might really take off, and the paparazzi will be at your door.
yeah. They'll be more like, hey, I'm from the Jerome Daily. And I'm not making fun of Jerome. Anybody out there? I love Jerome. It's home of one of my favorite monasteries for starters. Okay. Oh, Amy and Davin, you both touched my heart with your haikus this month. That turkey vulture, and by the way, I don't know anything about turkey vultures, so now I feel a little more educated about them. That turkey vulture is constantly moving in the stillness, and yet is still basking. And I don't know if this vulture, I don't know anything about turkey vultures, is working while sunning, or rather sunning while working, which seems to me the ideal way to approach work. But nonetheless, the sun nourishes. Every morning this time of year, I head out to our back porch to be still and contemplate and to watch the sun rise over the roof of our neighbor's house. I eventually have to put on my hat because the sun becomes so full and bright. And that's when I see the rays through the rain when it's raining, the green grass striped with shadows from our trees, soaking up the nourishment, and the birds, not turkey vultures, who've been singing their morning songs in the dawn, show their colors. They too hopping around the lawn, now pecking for worms or whatever they see that is nourishing in another way. Here is to sunning in stillness, even when we are moving, floating on air.
I love what you pulled out of that. Sunning and stillness. All right, here I go. A few weeks ago, on my morning walk along Dry Creek, which is decidedly not dry right now, a dark shadow caught my attention at the top of a dead or dying tree. My first thought as I looked up was that the top of the tree had been touched by fingers of fire in some mysterious way. It was the deep, dark black of fire's fingerprints. Of course, a normal fire starts at the bottom and works up. So had this been the blackened wood of fire only on the top of that single tree, I would have been, as with Moses, standing on holy ground. With my hand shading my eyes from the bright morning sun, I studied the blackness at the top of the tree and realized the deep black at the tippy top of the bare tree was a turkey vulture. It was as still as the tree on which it sat, facing the exact angle of the sun, with her wings held open, not her full wingspan, but just enough to give the impression she was giving herself the full enjoyment of the sun. She must have sensed my presence and adjusted her wings and turned her bright red head towards me as if to say, yes, turkey vultures enjoy the nourishment and nature's healing power of the sun too. Turkey vultures get a bad rap. They are huge, not so pretty, and well, they're vultures. That's why there was such beauty in the moment. It felt meditative, holy, and instructive. The way she held her wings, just a little open, felt familiar, like humans do when we open our arms wide to the sun, with heads up and eyes closed. It was a moment of profound connection. I've thought of that turkey vulture countless times. Even vultures enjoy the sun's healing. She brought me peace.
Nice.
Even vultures.
Even vultures.
Very, very resonant with my thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, totally.
Vultures, they're just trying to live, you know? They're trying to,
Yeah.
They're
That's
amazing
right.
birds, but they really are gross. Like they're not pleasant.
I mean, it's
Redheads.
just read a little bit about them. I mean, they are disgusting. And if you've ever gotten close to one before, close enough to smell it, you don't have to get that close to smell
okay, my idealism is shattered. Okay, let's end on a non-vulturous note.
Less gross.
Okay. Davin's haiku.
All right, so I'll just mention these are pictures that I took. Both are pictures that I took. So this is Isla in the redwoods, so our daughter, on a trip to Northern California that we took. And then the other photo, it's a backpacking trip in Elk River, Idaho.
Nice.
Yeah.
And who is that?
I'll be honest, I'm not totally sure.
Just somebody out there.
It was part of our group, and I probably should have gotten permission to use the picture, but it was so apropos.
But it's perfect. These
Yeah.
pictures are beautiful. I did not even know that you took them. I did not know.
I totally assumed, especially the one with your daughter, that was from Canva or something.
A Canva purchase.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's not my skill. It's all the phone.
No.
All right. Forest bathing. Time connecting with nature heals. Practice connecting.
And there's a young person there, and he's got the fingers and just being one with nature. Look at that.
So peaceful.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Who wants to go first?
I can go. The hummingbirds have arrived in my backyard. One of my favorite parts of sharing space with these feisty and flighty little creatures is watching them go from buzzing and seemingly reckless abandon to complete stillness on the limb of an evergreen tree. I've watched a hummingbird sit entirely still, tucked into a tree branch for a surprising amount of time. It's not only the hummingbirds. Sometimes on my walks or even on the back fence, I see squirrels in their own silent, still revelry. I wonder now if these backyard creatures, perhaps like the turkey vulture, are forest bathing, nature bathing, letting the energy and peace, power of the green leaves, rough branches, and glistening sunlight invade their souls, clearing and cleaning strife, plights, and unfounded worries. The opportunity and invitation to connect with nature's healing power is available to us always. When I lived in a crowded Chinese city with gray buildings as far as the eye could see, my fourth-story window was a portal to the sun's healing rays, the rain's gentle soaking, and stars' persistent sparkling. Nature's healing is always within reach, but it's a practice we must undertake. Practice is repetitive action that is intentional, strategic, meaningful, and transformative. This hummingbird season, I will let their frantic pace and deep stillness remind me to practice connecting with nature's healing power.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a beautiful
Beautiful.
haiku.
Beautiful haiku.
Beautiful.
And now I'm just doubly taken with the whole thing, with the pictures and everything. That's nice. Until recently, I didn't know what forest bathing was. I had a mental model of hot springs or esoteric gatherings of nature worshipers carrying on with pagan ceremonies. So it sounded fun. And for all I know, that might be forest bathing par excellence. But then I got curious and actually looked up forest bathing and even signed up for a newsletter from an organization called the Forest Bathing Institute. They say that to remember that the goal of forest bathing is not to reach a specific destination or achieve a particular outcome, but to be simply present and connect with nature. I can relate with that. There's nothing that makes me feel closer to the eternal, closer to the mystery, closer to peace of mind than being in nature. May is Mental Health Month, and they sent this Forest Bathing Institute is the name of the group. They sent actually some of the ways nature can help support mental health. And so I thought I'd just mention 2 or 3 since I think they're really important. One's reduced stress. Spending time in nature has been found to reduce levels of cortisol, a stress hormone. 2, improved mood. Being in nature can boost serotonin levels, which are often referred to as the feel-good neurotransmitter. Increased physical activity, and they describe each one of these. Enhanced focus and attention. Connection with the natural world. Feeling connected to nature can provide a sense of purpose and meaning, to a greater sense of well-being and fulfillment. Mindfulness and relaxation and social connection. And then they also describe some ways in which you can forest bathe in a park. And I'll just mention 2 or 3. One is to choose the right park, which is safe with lots of trees, natural surroundings. Prepare for it. Wear the right clothes. Put your phone on silent and abstain from using it. Stay silent and engage your senses. And that's the key for all of us. Find a spot to rest and be quiet. So I don't have any further comments on this haiku except to say that I connect with this spirit and with the forest and with the bathing personally, because it's what made even our trip to the Abbey of Gethsemane, Davin, when we were walking out in, I'm not sure if it's a forest or through the way to get to Thomas Merton's cabin and all around, that's when I feel closest to the Great Spirit, to God, to the divine, and being one with everything.
Nice.
Okay.
Very nice. I did not know there was an institute.
There's probably a
That's
number.
news
I mean, there's
information.
probably a number of organizations that support this, but I didn't know that. So it's a thing.
It's a thing. All right. I haven't done any systematic data collection on this, but I'm assuming based on anecdotal evidence that everyone loves vacations. Everyone appreciates time away from their everyday responsibilities and burdens, even when those responsibilities and burdens are enjoyable. A change of pace is refreshing and rejuvenating. Especially in this time of hyper connection via technology and social media, the urge to disconnect is strong, and the appeal of escaping for a while is compelling, almost romanticized. I'm skeptical of disconnecting, though. It strikes me as grasping for an unhealthy kind of detachment. Not detachment in the Buddhist sense, but rather a sophomoric attempt to avoid the responsibility that comes with deep and meaningful connection. A true vacation, one that refreshes and rejuvenates, isn't a disconnected kind of experience. Rather, it's an experience of deeper connection, albeit in a different mode than the everyday. Forest bathing is a great example. It is healthy for humans to spend time in nature, no matter what kind of nature it is. It can be a city park, a pool, a national park, or a state forest. The common denominator in forest bathing is that it be immersive, as the name bathing implies. In other words, forest bathing is not a disconnecting experience. It is an immersive experience of deeper connection. I'd like to generalize from this specific example and declare that in general, deeper connections, whether they be in the forest, in the community, at work, in the family, anywhere, are going to make us healthier, happier people.
Yeah.
I like where you took that.
We went from the sophomoric to the And the putrid turkey vulture to deep personal connection.
It's what was it you said at the beginning? The weft, the
Warp and weft.
The warp and
Warp
the
and-
weft.
it's
The
the
ebb and
warp
the
and
flow.
weft of our high bun.
That's right.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments for the good of the cause? This has
No,
been another
thank you.
excellent session, and I know more about turkey vultures than I actually think I probably wanted to know. But it's
The more
nice.
you learn, the more you learn, the worse it gets.
Not a
Amy,
fan.
Amy has a special connection with this turkey vulture, so we shouldn't cast aspersions on it too much.
Too late.
So fun.
Oh, Amy, anything else?
No, just thank you.
Yes, thank you all.
Grateful.
Until next month.